Hello, this is Jennifer, and today I'd like to talk to you about a book. This is a book that I recently reread, and it was one of my favorites when I was a kid. It's called Chasing Redbird by Sharon Creech. She's better known for the Walk Two Moons book, which I think I might have read, but I don't really know if I got all the way through it. I was not a very good reader as a child, and I'm much more of a voracious reader now as an adult, which I feel like usually it goes the other way around. But I had a hard time, staying focused reading when I was a kid. So anyway, this book was one that really connected with me as a child, and now as an adult, looking back and reading it, I can see why I connected with it so much. It's about this girl named Zinnia, which is why I later have zinnia seeds in this photo. And she loses her cousin, Rose. There's also Rose, a dead Rose, in this photograph as well. She loses her at a young age, and her aunt and uncle kind of use her as like their child that they lost in a way. I don't relate to that part. Here's where I start to relate. So the book is about Zinnia, or Zinni, following this historical path and uncovering it stone by stone as her own personal project that she feels compelled to complete. And she's out scraping mud and cutting down grass during the summer. And I just related a lot to that. I grew up in kind of a rural place, and then I moved to the suburbs, and even when I was there, I was like stomping around in a creek and that kind of thing. So I could relate a lot to kind of what she was doing and her being off on her own a bit, because I did like doing that as well. It was at this point during this photo that I realized I needed to go outside to get my little spade and gardening equipment, because she does plant zinnia seeds along the path as she goes. So I thought it was only fitting that I grab some of my gardening supplies and try to frame them with this photo as well. I also got some coins. She has some coins from the circus that have an acronym for "Till Next We Meet," I believe. And I don't have those because where would I get that? But I do have a couple of large coins. I think one's like a novelty like ghost town coin, and the other is just a large like American coin. So I'm using those to represent that. So I was sick when I decided to pick up this book. I had been reading Woman on the Edge of Time, but that was getting to be a little bit too heavy and deep and tiring to read in like my feverish and sleepy state. So I decided to pick up a young adult novel, which is something I love to do when I just want something a little bit refreshing, quick to read, easy to read, but impactful, as I usually find young adult tends to be, or not young adult, that's the wrong word, middle grade, always middle grade, never young adult. Young adult, I don't particularly like reading when I'm sick, but sometimes. So, I did pick it up when I was sick, and it did make me feel really good, and it gave me memories of like childhood and stuff like that. And I think it was also a pretty good book to read in winter, because I want to be out, scraping stones and uncovering an ancient path. I really like being outside and being able to be outside, but when you're both sick and it's winter and it's raining and it's cold outside, you know, you kind of have to live a little bit vicariously for those types of things. And having gotten quite into gardening recently, or the past several months, and trying to both grow flowers and vegetables from seed, I'd like to share a quote from this book. Man needs bread and hyacinths, one to feed the body and one to feed the soul. So I'd be interested to hear about any of your childhood favorites, and if you may have read any since childhood and kind of what you thought of them. Sometimes they really don't hold up, and sometimes they do. And I was really happy that this book was as good as I remember it. So anyway, thanks for watching.